Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Evan McCauley, president of the club, and we are thrilled to have you joining us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel. Our club meets weekly at Laurel Lake for breakfast on Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. Come out and join us for a meeting. We'd love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact that we are having on the local community and world, please visit rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the meeting today and be the inspiration.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Jim Ahern. Good morning.
Morning.
It's a short prayer and thanks to our guest speaker who's coming today. Dear God, what is the fascination with this game of golf? Is it the outdoors, the green fairways, the blue skies, the lakes, the trees, the feel of the breeze across my face? Is it the friends who I play with, their companionship, their encouragement, the conversation between holes, the silence as we wait our turn? Or is it the game, balance between grace and skill and power, striving for perfection, the loft of the ball, the precision of the putt? Or is it all of these? And in these, meditations all about life, harmony, friendship, balance, and every once in a while, the perfect shot. And, if it be your will, Lord, a good score that would make my day heavenly. Amen. Thanks, Jim. And lead us in the pledge and four-way test. Amy Becker.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, it is true. Second, it is fair to all concerned. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships. Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. And lead us in song, Chris Parker.
Okay. Well, everyone, I hope you'll join me in singing your grand old flag for a few things. You know, I love it when you see the big flag blowing in the breeze. And the last windstorm, I looked out my front door and our flagpole, like 20-foot flagpole, was bent over and broken. And so now I'm really missing that grand old flag. So, I'll sing, you're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, forever peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true for the red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, Evan.
Welcome back to another wonderful Wednesday morning at the Rotary Club of Hudson after a nice 2-week vacation. Happy New Year. We're going to have just a little bit of fun before we get started. So raise of hands if you had an enjoyable time, had some fun with friends or family over the holiday break over the past 2 weeks. Raise one hand. All right, perfect. Keep those hands up. Keep those hands up. I think we have all hands up, but if not, we've got another question. And the next question, raise your next hand if you're looking forward to something in 2019. Anything in 2019. All right, wonderful, wonderful. Now, next step, keep those hands up. Turn to a neighbor, and on the count of 3, we're going to give a big high five. And if you do see somebody at the table that does not have their hands up, reach over and please give them a hug. All right, 1, 2, 3. we're going to get started here, and we're going to kick it off with our guest introductions. Chris Parker.
All right, we have at least 10 guests joining us today. So if they could please stand up when I call their names, we can give them a warm Rotary welcome. We have Kurt Newell, guest of Mike Swain. George Raw, guest of Evan and Rich, I believe. Leo Futia, he actually saw the ad in the hub and wanted to come and listen to today's speaker. Thank you, Leo. We have Ed Cornell, guest of Mike Swain. Pat Williams, guest of Rich Warfield. Lee McCauley, I think he's the guest of Evans today.
I don't think so. Bring a ringer in, Evan.
And then we have these guests, I think they're guests of Rich and Evan. So we have Dan Taylor, Jim Carson, Sal Hartman. And then we have returning Rotarian Joe Rutznick, guest of Jim Ahern. And if I miss anyone, I just sincerely apologize.
All right, Ben. In my time as a Rotarian, I'm coming up on 5 years. That's the most number of guests that we've had. So thanks for being here. Just a couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into our program today. We have a board of directors meeting following this meeting over in the Greenwood private dining room. So all of you are welcome to attend that. The other update that we have is just a quick recap on our recent fall fundraiser. Tom Page.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, Tom.
Well, I have good news, but you still have an opportunity. Some of you haven't given me a little bit of money, and so we're going to keep, Doug and I are going to keep the books open for a little bit, but I have to tell you that we have a real good chance of netting 3 scholarships for our Hudson youth. So
All right.
you guys really, and gals really did a fantastic job, and we had a lot of help along the way, and I just want to tell you, I really appreciate it. And you know what? I learned a lot about Hudson. When the roses didn't come in, I got a chance to deliver it up to about 9 that night. Actually, that was fun. Try to find the mayor's house in the middle of the night up on a hill. Anyhow, I just want to thank you all for all the work that you've done, and we'll see you next year.
And they were good too, Tom.
Oh, good.
They were good roses. Thank you.
Wonderful. Are there any other announcements or updates for the good of the group? Absolutely. So we've got a great AV system. We made some adjustments over the holiday. As many of you know, we've had our technical difficulties this year. And that gentleman back there, Gary Dixon, is with us today. And he spent some time over the holidays coming in, diagnosing the problems, cleaning up our equipment. So thank you very much for the work that you've done. It's very important. All right, we're going to kick things off here. January is our sports theme month at Rotary Club of Hudson, and it really is a sports center worthy lineup of speakers. And I could and would love to continue with the introduction, but I'm going to leave that to Joe. And just mention that the individual with us this morning, it's a very unique opportunity to hear his story. And he is somebody that he doesn't know this, but growing up, he very much was a role model and inspiration for a young golfer myself. So I look forward to hearing Ben's thoughts today. And without further ado, Joe Avella.
Morning, Joe.
Okay. Thank you. I know.
Yeah.
You check this, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this morning we're pleased to have with us championship golfer Ben Curtis. Ben started playing golf at the age of 3. He grew up just 50 yards from the putting green at Mill Creek Golf Course in Ostrander, Ohio. His grandfather built that course, and it was a family-owned course. In 1996, Ben came to Kent State on a golf scholarship and played under renowned head coach Herb Hayes. And if you remember, if you remember, Herb was a speaker about a year or so ago, right here. Herb. Ben was a three-time All-American and graduated in the year 2000. He earned his PGA Tour card through qualifying school in Palm Springs, California. He solidified his place in golf history books in 2003 when he won the British Open, becoming the first golfer since 1913 to win a championship debut. Ben has 4 career victories on the PGA Tour. He made his first appearance in the Ryder Cup in 2008 at Valhalla, where his victories over Lee Westwood helped the USA team overcome its streak of 3 consecutive losses to Team Europe. Ben lives in Kent with his wife Candace, their 2 young children, and he spends most of his time with his family foundation. So please extend a warm Rotary welcome to Ben Curtis.
Thanks, Joe. First of all, just thanks to everybody for coming out today, just to hear a little bit more about my story. I know we'll have a video here in a few moments, talk a little bit, it just goes over a little bit more about the foundation, how we run it, how it all proceeds when we do our foundation pack. So a little bit more about my background. Like Joe said, my grandfather did build a golf course. He was a school teacher just south of Columbus, and then in 1972 he made this choice that he wanted to build a farm and build a golf course on the farm. So he bought about 110 acres or so. The Ostrander, if you're not familiar, is halfway between Delaware and Marysville, so it's just a little bit northwest of Columbus. Not, only about 10 miles from Murfield Village. So it's a nice location out in the country, but the town I grew up in, there's probably more people in this room than where I live. So we had more animals than people, but it was a great place to grow up. So I grew up, like Joe said, 50 yards from the 18th green and the putting green. My dad was the superintendent and still is to today, so he's the only one been there. So 40 plus years now. And then, so it started out with 9 holes. So that opened 1974. And the year I was born in 1977, the other 9 opened up. And my grandfather, my grandmother, they lived in the back of the pro shop in the clubhouse in a little 1-bedroom apartment. And it's now part of the clubhouse. But yeah, so they lived back there. And then, obviously it struggled a little bit at first, like any new business. But, now 40 plus years later, 48 years later, it's going strong, and my parents are now part owners with one of her sisters. So it's still family run. My brother's still working there and helps out in the pro shop, and his wife and my mom still does all the bookkeeping and has ever since day one. So it's a very family run. I got the reason I got into golf more so than anything. I mean, obviously it was there for me, but my cousins were quite good golfers as well, and they both played college golf, one at Georgia Southern down in Georgia and the other Bowling Green. So, they were 8 and 10 years older than me, so they would come home in the summers or when they were in high school. It gave me a lot of great competition, so I give them a lot of credit because they allowed this little crazy obsessed golfer to play along with them. We play for pizza or Coke or whatever, even though it was free in the clubhouse. We still played for it. But so that was a lot of fun to be able to play against them. I learned a lot from them. We play 18 holes in like an hour and a half on carts. We just had a lot of fun. So Mill Creek's very similar to like Ellsworth or Foxton, something like that. So it was a little public golf course, but it was a great place to grow up and learn the game. Now, we didn't have the amenities like the Country Club of Hudson or Lake Forest across the street. We had a driving range, but didn't have a green, didn't have a tee, didn't have any, just a field. And then, so this is how I kind of built it myself into a degree. I put cones out there. I'd find anything I could find laying around my dad's shop, and I would put out there. And I would find balls around the golf course, and I, got a nice stash. And over the years, it's all different color balls, all different, shapes and sizes, pretty much. And but so I take anything I could find, and I pretty much made my own driving range, and that's how I learned to play. A lot of it's self-taught, but my grandfather was notorious for coming along. He would take stuff out of my bag, so he'd see my bag laying around the clubhouse or whatever. He'd take out 6 clubs, so I'd be left with 5 clubs in my bag or whatever. And I come out and I'd be like, "Where'd they all go?" And it took me about 2 years to figure out my grandfather was taking clubs out of my bag. And then when I found him in his tractor, I'm like, "What are you doing, Grandpa?" He's like, "Well, if you want to be good, you want to learn, you got to be able to play with just 4 or 5 clubs in your bag." And to this day, he's very right. I mean, you see guys on tour, and they'll be hitting 7 irons from 110 yards or whatever, just on practice, just so if they ever get in a situation where they need to hit a shot under a tree or around a tree, you can be able to do it. So, and Seve Ballesteros was notorious for using clubs that weren't required for that shot. So he would hit bunker shots with the 3 irons, and so he just learned it's just great for your hands and just learning to be a shot maker and things like that. I mean, it's kind of lost a little bit today because of the technology. Everything it's a little bit different, but it did help me out tremendously. So I had a lot of fun with that, and he had a lot of fun with me watching me run around with my head cut off like a chicken. So it was a lot of fun. But I owe a lot to him. I owe a lot to obviously my dad, the sacrifices that my family has made. I remember when I was playing, I started playing junior golf. I started playing tournaments at 5 years old, and so I went to Peoria, Illinois. If you've ever been there, there's not much there. Just the Mississippi River running through. But just this little tournament, it's still running today. It's a great junior event, just like the Hudson Junior, but they start at 5 years old, going on up to 18. And so I started at 5 years old, and I played against D.A. Points, and we laugh about it today. But he came along, and we played a lot of junior golf together. But going back, yeah, so I owe a lot to my family. So this is just the sacrifices they made. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't. I played baseball, I played basketball, and all that. But when I was like 13 or 14, I remember we drove to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, with my mom. I played the event there. We drove home, and then we just stayed home for 2 hours. I stayed home for 2 hours, and then my dad jumped in the car with me, and then we drove to New Jersey. I found out my dad doesn't like New Jersey, so. But anyway, went there and then came home, and then obviously continued on playing other tournaments. But that's just the stuff that they did, sacrificing their time. My dad would, he obviously back then we didn't have the automated watering system, so he would obviously go out in the middle of the night, get home at 2 or 3 in the morning, then get up at 5 to go work, mow the greens and stuff like that. So, and then he would still come watch me play in the afternoon or in the evening. So the sacrifices they made is tremendous. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. And obviously I had success because of my cousins as well. And then fortunate to get a scholarship, go to Kent State, and then got to play for the best coach in the country. I mean, what he's done in the last 40 plus years at Kent State is remarkable. You go anywhere in the world and you hear Kent State, first thing pops in mind is Herb Page, and just what he's done for that golf program, and it's truly amazing. And he has so much respect within the golfing community, not just in the college ranks, but just in golf in general. And all the players that have come through there had so much success, be it reps for Titleist, and there's like 20 of them throughout the country, and presidents of companies and doctors and things like that. So he's done a tremendous. He's been able to do here in Kent. No one would ever expect. Kent, Ohio would produce such a good golf team that they do, and a lot of it's all because of Herb Page and his vision, and to be able to pick out a guy like me, coming in, and he does it year in and year out, picking out. I got recruited. I was lucky. I got recruited by a bunch of the good schools, but just the way he could communicate and find these diamonds in the rough kind of player. Corey Connors is just a a 5'8", 100-pound kid coming out of high school. Now he's 6'2" and built like a football player. So yeah, to be able to find these players, see the potential ahead, that's what makes him one of the best coaches in America. So after obviously played school, then went on and had aspirations to play tour life. And, got extremely lucky. It took me 3 times to go. The third time going through Q school to get my tour card. Once I got that, then obviously the rest is history. I kind of, I was very lucky. I mean, obviously the game, you got to be great, you got to be good, right? But your talent can only take you so far. It's playing good at the right time. I remember I had a nice career on the Hooters tour right after school and played well throughout the year. And then Q school come around, I played good the first time, and then the second stage, I just stumbled a little bit, and that's all it takes. I mean, there's so many good players I played with in college and even in the pros, that were lucky enough to get the tour card or starts and stuff like that, and it just never panned out for them. And there's a bunch of reasons that go into it: the travel, the lifestyle away from home, and all the pressures that you're dealt with playing on tour. So I was just very lucky, and again, it goes back to my grandfather. He instilled in me that, hey, if you want to be successful on the tour, you got to have a good demeanor. And I truly believe that today. I think if you can stay even keel as long as possible, the better off you're going to be. Don't want to get too high or too low. He said, you play great, you don't want to show too much emotion, let everybody know that you played great. You kind of want everybody, so if you walked off the golf course, you don't want people to know what you shot. You don't want them to know if you shot 80 or if you shot 60. And I truly believe that, kind of keeps you level-headed, and it keeps you, longevity will help in the long run. I know you get times where, hey, there's times you're going to have show emotion, get up and down, you win a tournament, things like that. Or if you have a really bad day, you're going to show a little bit of it. But if you can stay even keel as much as possible, and what I've found on tour, the guys that stay out there longest, like Roy McIlroy is still pretty much the same guy he was when he was 18 years old till he is today. I mean, if I went up to him, I'm pretty sure that, we could have a nice conversation. He would understand, kind of come down to my level because I'm a nobody right now in the golfing world. But yeah, this is the type of people that seem to have a long career in the game of golf, and I truly believe that. So then, after some success, my wife and I were, about 2011 or 12, that time frame, we started talking about building a foundation, but we had no clue where to go. We didn't know what we should do, where we should start, and lucky by chance, we were watching a TV program on TV one night on the road, and popped up a Dateline or 2020, something like that, and this program was following around a family family of 5, I believe it was, and it was talking about food and how they struggled to put food on the table every day. And the husband and wife had they were making good money. They were making a couple $100,000 a year. I don't know where they were, a couple $100,000 a year. And then tough times came. They both lost their jobs. They had 3 kids. And it really hit home. They were just following them. She was going to the grocery store, and she was going to get food stamps. She was, doing that. He's going out looking for jobs, couldn't find anything. And then they would show him waking up in the morning. They just followed him around for like a week, show him wake up in the morning. And the one scene that really hit us was like they opened the fridge. There's a few items in there, and they pull it out, and they go, all we have is 1 egg. There's 5 of us. And that was all they had, and a little bit of toast. And you're thinking, so that just made us start thinking. We did some digging. Candace, when we were on the road, she would volunteer. They have a players' wives, PGA Wives Association, and they would do some charity stuff throughout the, tour stops and things like that. And one of the things really hit home with her, and it goes back to the food, was the Blessings in Backpack. If you ever heard of it, it's very similar to what we do. We just put our own twist on it. But she volunteered, and it's a great program where they go in and they provide meals to kids in schools weekly. So that she saw that program, and she's like, I think I got what we need to do. And so we did some research. So we came home, we started doing some research in our community, and we found that there was a need in Kent, Ohio. And we lived there since I was in college and never realized that there's actually a need. So after some research, we found out that 46% of the students are on some kind of food assistance program. So I think they call it SNAP now, but it used to be food stamps. But so the kids would come in, they get 46% of the kids would get a breakfast and a lunch provided for them at school. So I was like, wow, that's a big number. So then we started doing some research around the area, and we found that, and then we started tapping into the food bank and all their, resources, and we just found out there's a huge need. So she's like, I have the idea of doing this blessings in a backpack, but what blessings in a backpack did, everything was prepackaged. So you had to, if you went through them, you had to use their formula and you had to buy their food. Well, you find out that they provide food for 2 days and it costs about $12 to $13 a bag. So she did a lot of research trying to figure out, I think I can get it cheaper. So we formed the foundation, we formed this idea, and so she gets it down to $5 a bag. So what we do started in 2013, and we started with one school. So we met with the superintendent at Kent City Schools, and we talked through the idea. Hey, we have this idea, is there need? And we have a great relationship. Candace was taught by him when he was a teacher at the time, and then so we just started brainstorming, and we kind of put this plan together. So what we do is we do one time a month, so 10 times throughout the school year. We pack birdie bags. We call them birdie bags, and they consist of 9 meals and 6 snacks. They get a toiletry packet as well, so soap, shampoo, conditioner, etc. So we do that 10 times throughout the school year. We start out with 100 bags. We did that for a few months. We upped it to about 250 at 2 different schools. And now, 7 years later, we're in all 6 schools in Kent. We do 1,000 bags. We also do a pantry at the high school and middle school level, so the kids can come in and need that. And we have point people at each school, and they help the students get the food that they need to take home. And that consists of larger food items, big pastas, soap, shampoo, like family-style stuff. So these kids can come in and get food for their family. And then we also do a pantry over in Ravenna at the middle school. We're trying to get in there because they're 77% is their number of kids are on the food on the SNAP program. But once you get that, everybody in the government says that everybody can get food. So the whole school would get provided breakfast and lunch in Ravenna. So there's a huge need. And there's even a need here in Hudson. You wouldn't think about it, but it's roughly 1 in 4 kids. So it's 25% or so. And you have no idea. It's crazy. So we do that. We do 1,000 bags. But then last fall we started. We partnered up with a couple from Hudson, and they're helping us provide birdie bags to Barberton, and they do 1,400 bags a month. So there's a huge need is there as well. So as you can tell, there's a need everywhere. It's not just here in in Kent or Hudson. It's everywhere. So we're slowly growing, and then we also do a Christmas program. Not only it's the Very Merry Dinner down there, where we bring in 500 people, 300 of them are kids. We did it this year at the Kent State Hotel, and we brought them all in. They get a buffet dinner, and then the kids get pictures with Santa and Mrs. Claus. And then when they leave, they all get to take home a meal that they can prepare on Christmas Day. So we do whole ham or turkey, and then all the sides of potatoes, stuffing, cranberries, and the corn and stuff like that. And then the best thing is that when the kids leave as well, they fill out wish lists at school at the beginning of the year, what they want and what they need for school, or what they want for Christmas from Santa. And then we go out. We have giving trees, we call them, throughout the community. People can go and buy gifts for these kids. And we wrapped about 3,000 gifts this year for the 300 kids. So it's just a fun day. The kids get to come in and they get to see they come home. They get to take home all those gifts, and they're all wrapped and ready to go for them. So it's a really, really fun event, and we're very proud. And it's just around the top. What we found is around the holidays, those are the toughest times. Thanksgiving, Christmas, all that. It's a very difficult time for these kids and these families, and the schools are really great, and they come to us and say, hey, can you give us a little extra at this time of year, and we gladly help out. So we'll have a video I'll show here in a few minutes. It just shows you how we do the birdie bags and how we go about it. So we do it every Tuesday. When we do it on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So go ahead. I'm not comfortable on the big stage, and I'm kind of like small crowd, small group of people. I'm gonna say, that's just how I like it. So the perfect place to have a win. One week, all West. It's just a great place. What is that for Northeast Ohio? Oh, so much so that sometimes get lost on the World Series. 2003 Open Championship. Our career golf of yeah, this guy is along. You know, there's something about the guy. Out there, there's way more talent down here than on
Yes. He's a great man. I mean, that's just like, I mean, along with the golf, it's a phenomenal career. And that doesn't define him. It's part of him. But I feel that the value of having someone who's help is not family. That
Curtis, a couple victories for outside Columbus, Ohio. Ramsey Golf Club. Milk Creek Golf Club in Oak Transfer, Ohio. That outside. Mom runs the program. Also, Curtis runs the game. Nobody right line. Somebody there. Oh, golf for middle nowhere. A lot of players come from little small local only 9-hole courses like no. It's just compared to the fact how much determination heart have. Curtis attended college nearby Kansas, Ohio. Two-time All-American. Graduated in 2000. Spent many hours in here. Lots of games, lots of fun times with the team. There's also here where we had one game. My wife Candace, where we met, to play on the women's team for 3 minutes. So we met and playing golf. So it's been now and family all around the world. Curtis is our connection. Ohio has given them so much. Now it's time for Ed and give back.
they've always supported that, always been behind it. You know, you've always had, it's nice to know that you're just back to people who have your back as well. It's special. So,
Where we want to be. There's no question about it. Wasn't anywhere else throughout the country. If we just felt like that, then we could be involved. We always want to be involved. Similar, right? Get our hands dirty. Once we decided we're going to move up to Ohio full time, we knew this is where we wanted to live. It is fantastic. The people are so nice. Great community. We just wanted to help out kids in our own
growing problem. Families, even with two parent households and have 2 or 3 children, are still struggling. So it is something that here at this school, we're always looking for different supports to make sure our kids can be happy and healthy and focus on those academics instead of where that necessarily comes from. One of the things that the foundation has done is providing some basic things to students and their families is allowing them to use their resources now to try to change their circumstances in a more positive and long-term way.
So the church got to work. Yeah, parent one, parent two. Along with their extended families, friends, and slew of volunteers, band and attendants begin by loading walk and donating food into their cars, U-Hauls, and trucks. Well, thanks, Sally. Appreciate it. Yeah, enjoy it. Food is then sorted, and then a grocery bag stuffed with enough food for children to have for long weekend.
So what we do is we pick up the bags down here and we walk around the bed and
All of us have different when our basic needs are not met, whether it's shelter, and the impact how they wear, the effort they put into school, and the impact how they treat others.
we take it for granted. We see them, they come through the door, we expect them to sit in their seats and access the rooms, but if they haven't had their needs met before, whatever those needs may be.
Once the bags are packed and loaded, Curtis and the rest of his crew are off to area schools. 700 bags are delivered.
Now we're going to go to the fun part, to deliver to school. It's just an awesome feeling to know that when someone becomes something bigger, that they still remember where they come from and want to help out the children. It's curious. When you experience a community culture yourself and you felt that it's taking you places and giving you opportunities, you do want to come back and promote that for other kids and for other families as well. Because that's exactly what you're doing. Some really special kids are hoping our hero, and it makes me so proud that he can live anywhere because he's using the tech and then coming back to help the kids that are in the same class.
I usually joke about my love for these kids and I love these kids, and it's a big helping impact with families and communities.
It's something bigger than, yeah, I bigger than me. It's just paying it forward. We've been so lucky and it's fortunate to have what we have. Why not, you know? Well, I mean, why not help somebody out there?
It felt like this time now they're stable and it seemed like the right time. And we enjoy it. That's fun. We've met a lot of great people, a lot of great people. We enjoy it. It's a lot of work. All right. So it's just a little bit more about what we do and how it all proceeds when we get together and do the birdie bags. That takes up majority of my time, especially now. And then last year, I was fortunate to start a golf academy. And I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. The last couple of years I was playing. And, so I looked around. I went all over the place, talking to different clubs and different golf courses to figure out where I could host the golf academy. And I walked in with the camps. I'm sure a lot of you know Jeff and senior and junior. And I walked in there, had a meeting with them, and I walked out with a deal. I mean, they were so open. They were very nice. They couldn't ask for nicer people to allow me to do my academy at a course like that. And so what I do, it's for high level kids that are thinking about playing, high level high school, college, professional, to have those dreams. Traveling around the country, I was very fortunate to get to see a lot of great courses and meet a lot of great instructors and people in the game of golf. And one thing that I noticed is that, Florida, Texas, California, they have it all. Up here, you don't really see it. There's a few places around, but nothing to the extent that what I'm trying to do. So the goal is I get these kids together, and it's a high level. We spend 3 to 4 hours of time in each session. We do more than just on how to hit a shot from A to B. It's about, it's about the mental toughness, what it takes, course management, practice routines, and stuff like that. I mean, started working with Jen David last year, and she worked really, really hard on her game, but wasn't maybe necessarily what she needed to be working on. She was working hard on a short game, putting and things like that, but she wasn't doing the drills or working on the right stuff mentally to prepare herself. And so that's the stuff we work on. We try to get them prepared for these tournaments so they perform better. And she ended up getting a full ride to Akron Youth, so she'll start there next fall. And we talk about nutrition, we talk about the physical training, talk about how much time I help with preparing them for tournaments. Like I said, we talk where they should go play in tournaments. Like for example with Jen, what I did is she's only been playing for a few years, so she didn't really have a big resume, but I told her, hey, get as much of a resume put together as you can. We'll send it off to all these colleges and we'll see what happens. And then within 2 weeks, she had 10 or 12 coaches calling her up. And these kids, they don't really know. It's, get yourself out there. There's 15,000 kids playing in all these local tournaments throughout the country or whatever. And it's hard to stick out to these college coaches. There's so many, especially for her who hasn't, played that much, in the last, prior to, high school. So a lot of these college coaches are looking at kids now, like, John Mills, who's assistant at Kent, he's looking at kids that are 8, 9, 10 years old right now. He already knows who the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds are. So the game has changed dramatically in that aspect. So you got to get out there. So if you are later, if you develop later, you don't have the scores or the resume, you got to get yourself put out there. So that's the stuff I'm trying to work on with these kids, and just help make sure they go to the race school. Jen she's a great player and she will be a great player, but she doesn't need to be going to Duke or North Carolina. She might struggle to play for the first couple of years. Whereas now at Akron, she should have a really good chance to play right away and get more experience. So you don't necessarily have to go to these, everybody talks, you got to go south, you got to go south. Well, you don't have to. Now, Akron, they got an indoor facility just like you saw there with Kent. It may be not as nice, but it's still indoors, and she can do stuff throughout the winter and keep those things fresh. So that's what I'm doing now, mostly at the Country Club of Hudson, and it's been very rewarding. I got, I try to limit to like 5 or 6 students. I don't want to get too big, and so I can keep my focus in on these kids as much as possible, and try to help out in every way I can to make them better, and tell them what it takes. When I was 15, 16 years old, I was 8 to 10 hours a day in the summer out on the golf course. And, pretty much everybody that makes it on tour, that's how they were. Just give them a little bit of heads up on that. And, a couple of kids I was working with last year, they're 12, 13, and, I'd see them a couple days a week, but they wouldn't do anything in between. And I'm like, hey, that's fine, but if you want to get to that level, you're going to have to put in the time and the effort and make some sacrifices and, give up Fortnite or for a couple hours, or or have to, I played high school basketball. Obviously, in the winter, we didn't have the indoor facilities like we do now. But and I don't want to discourage kids from playing other sports, but you might have to make a sacrifice here or there with stuff like that. So that's basically what I do. I do have a wine label out there. It's very small. We produce. It's called Fairway and Vines. We produce a Chardonnay and a red wine blend. And we're in 9 states. We currently we produce 2,000 cases. So it's pretty much available. Hudson Country Club has a few restaurants around town, and we're slowly growing that business as well. So, but for the most part, the foundation, then the academy, then the wine's kind of the third little hobby, and we have some fun with that. So, at this time, I'll open it up for questions. Anybody has some questions about anything? Go ahead. Gentleman in the blue sweater. Congratulations on what you're doing. You and your wife are doing a great job. Where do you think that's going to we have several things. We have a golf outing every summer. We just host that Firestone. That's our majority of it. We have other small events. We had last year we did a eating on the lake. This year we're working on a few other things. We do some stuff throughout the community. A lot of companies come to us say we do a little thing at Rotary and stuff for us. Things like that. So yeah, we just pretty much wherever we can do online donations. Take all that stuff. But our two main events we do two events, eating on the lake and then the charity hall. Yeah, I wasn't on the dance floor. So we had the wedding preset, so we got engaged in 2001, and then we set the date. Obviously, it wasn't sure at the time. She's like, "When are we gonna do? When are we gonna have our wedding?" And we're going through everything. Like, well, the work schedule came out. I'm like, "Why don't we do it on August 23rd? Even if I'm on tour, I'm not gonna plan it entirely." And so we put it in there, and so a month and a half prior, go over when the British Open, and so about 2 or 3 days after having it, we'll say, "Hey, you're in Firestone," and that's the week of our wedding. And, obviously, IMG and they were representing me at the time. You got to play Firestone, but you got to move the wedding. You can't she's throwing her microphone. So we made an agreement. We decided to do it, and we just moved the wedding back a while. And so I said, well, even if I get it, I'm not going to play good. It's a wedding week. How am I going to play good or anything like that? So wake up Thursday morning, she's 64, and then to leave. And, she's like, "You're really trying to screw up our marriage." Luckily, the next day, on Friday, we played late. I played bad and was able to tee off around noon on Saturday. And got that sorted over to our wedding. And was able to play and then do our wedding and have some fun. And then get up in the morning and drive down and play at Firestone. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't do it again. Look back on it, but I mean, we, still the only player that's playing this tournament and get married in the same year. It's a lot of fun.
I had a question. First of all, I think a lot of guys they might not think of it. Anyway, I'm curious that we go out to the range and typically we go out and practice. How much practice? My understanding is practice.
Yeah, I think, you definitely hit a lot of balls. I was more of short game practice, wedge practice. I would do a lot of that. So if I was going out to the club, I would, let's say I go out for 4 hours. I'd probably spend 2 to 2.5 hours on the short game side. So I'd putt maybe for an hour, half hour, for an hour, do a lot of chipping and things like that. And then I would work on some wedges. And then I like to do is actually practicing the golf course. So what I would do was go out and I'd hit maybe 2 or 3 drivers off each hole or something. Because I wouldn't necessarily hit a lot of balls in the room. So that's where I get my driving practice. And then what I really liked about it is it actually gave me a true test of what it is. Get on the range and 250 yards wide and whatever, you can hit it all over, it doesn't matter. But you get on the court, it doesn't matter. So and it gives you a visual of what it's really like, even the whole, every whole pitch and everything. So the majority of the time, that's what I do. And then I pick one ball and then play. that's what I tell them today. You know, 60% of your shots are taken with 100 yards. So that just shows you should spend 60% of your time doing that. And then the other 15% of your scores and stuff on the golf course, the shots you take are taken with the driver or off the tee. So 75% of your game is in 3 areas. So you need to be standing out there pounding 7 irons all day long. No, but I'm not saying you can't work on it and get better at that. But it's not the most important, especially at the highest level. The guys work driving, and Justin Johnson will probably he's not going to stand out there and get 7 irons. He may only hit 4 of those in the tournament, let alone, you know, that needs to stand out an hour or so.
Gary, some of your thoughts, what's going on in your head the last hour or so?
How do I get out of here? You know, it's one of those things. I mean, obviously I was nervous, but you're so in tune to what you're doing. You understand your right? You've been there before, but not to that level. And so what I was trying to do is try to get myself back to like I was playing an amateur or, you know, like a Hooters tour event where I was just trying to control my breathing. I was trying to look back on it. It was a very difficult thing to do, but you try to take in what did I do during those times. And that's what I was really thinking. I wasn't, when it first started, so this is probably not good advice for kids, but it was the night before, all I kept thinking about was each shot on number one. All I kept saying is, if I hit the fairway number one, I'm going to win. And that's the only thing I thought about. So I was very fortunate to hit the fairway and won and made birdie and 5 under 2, 12 for 11 holes. But who knows what would happen if I would have missed the fairway and won. I probably would have shot 85 and not be standing here today. But when I got on the 12th tee, there was a little delay. The group front had a ruling, and there was a big scoreboard over to my right. And that kind of, at that point, I had no idea. I was just playing. I was just in this groove or whatever. And it was just one of those moments where I looked up and was like, I'm actually winning this thing. I mean, obviously I knew I was playing well, but it's just one of those things. And kind of like, you try not to focus in on that. It's a very hard thing to do. But the good thing is I was already in a good rhythm and playing well, even though I got really nervous. And it wasn't a top finish. It was a top finishing possible. I just tried to keep even keel as possible. You know, got in, Fluffy made a nice putt on the one. Just kind of solidify things. But yeah, it's a tough thing to do. And it's something that's hard to teach. You know, try to teach these players. The best thing I can do is try to stay in the present, try to not focus in on the result, focus in on what you're playing. Try to work on your routine, your breathing, and things like that. To keep the heart rate going and grow. Because when I won the Valero, like the last 2 or 3 holes, it's been a while since I won. Right? It's been 6 years, and I still was getting nervous, and the drill was flying me. I was hitting 885 yards, you know. And I understood that. So in the last couple holes, or especially on 18, I had like 110 yards to the hole, and I took out my lob with it. So I only went about 85 to the hole. And I understood that, hey, I got a lot of juices going, and this is the spot I needed to hit. It was a great shot in there, to 12 or 15. And got the victory. So it's understanding that. You'll hear stuff all that you'll see on TV watching that. They change the shot or if they miss it, it's probably nerves. You know, line stuff. But if they're staying in the middle of the fairway, 150 yards away, they're leading the tournament, they don't hit one. It happens to everybody. I had failures too. I failed more times than the opportunity than I wanted.
you, Ben. What a wonderful way to kick off our sports theme here at Rotary. Just an observation that I have and that I've kind of formulated over my many years, young man. The most successful people I find are the most down to earth people, and I think that that's very apparent with what Ben has done in his career. And just one item that I wanted to share, Ben. This is maybe one of my favorite quotes that I've read that you said. This is, when he bettered the likes of Tiger Woods, Davis Love III, Vijay Singh, and Thomas Bjorn to win the Claret Jug, the golf world was shocked, but he didn't seem the least bit surprised. Ben said, "This isn't all that new to me. I've been sort of preparing for this all my life," he said, merely stating the obvious. I think that's amazing. So we're going to wrap up with our Roadbuck raffle, and then we'll have you on your way. Payout this morning, $14, jackpot $238. All right, last four, 8192. 8192. Come on up. You're always winning this thing.
No.
All right, not today. Oh, I guess I owe you some money, huh?
Hey, Ben. I'd like to donate this $14 and something cents to your foundation. It's not much, but it's better than me It's better than me waste. Hey, if
I don't know what I did.
if Evan spent the money already.
I'll give it to you in a second.
Hey, boy, and I was in credit for 4 years.
It's over here. Well, thank you for that contribution. That's wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Many guests with us. Please feel free to come back and join us for breakfast. We're here most Wednesday morning. And with that, join us at the board meeting if you can. Happy New Year. Make it a great week.